everyone. This is Kathy Mason from MasonWorks Marketing here on Conscious Business Zone with Dr. Ro- Rodriguez. I can't say it. Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
Well, tongue-tied. My goodness. Sorry about that. Dr. Ruth. So Dr. Ruth is a newly published author, but she is a wealth of information on how we can make more conscious choices on how we live. And Dr. Ruth, how did you get started with wanting to write a book and wanting to share your knowledge?
Thank you for having me here, first of
Oh,
all.
sure.
I'm a board certified, traditionally Western trained pediatrician for the past 25 years. But the last several years, like I was earlier, we were talking about, I had a younger daughter that is at Colorado State University in Colorado, and she just started talking to me and started making me aware of environmental changes, pesticides, hormones in our food. I also had a grandmother. I grew up with a grandmother that used to use herbs and teas every time. She was like head of household. We lived with her the majority of my life. I immigrated from Cuba as a child to the United States, so I had that experience of being an immigrant, remembering how things were in Cuba, and how I had to learn everything over in the United States, a new language. And so from that perspective and all those cultural ideas that I outgrew when I became an adult. And I grew up in Miami, and moving away from Miami and creating my own life, starting my own practice as a pediatrician, seeing the medicines that I was prescribing to the children, the side effects that they were getting, the effects of learning, becoming more aware of vaccines and their toxicity. It just all started coming together for me. The last 6 years, I went from a traditional office setting where I had one nurse, one secretary, myself. I did that for 15 years. And then I went through a divorce. And when I went through my personal divorce, I was like, how am I going to see the light at the end of the tunnel to provide for myself and my two daughters and get them through college? So I started thinking, what else could I do? And I've always loved hospital work, so it came to mind to me that I would work at the hospital and the office at the same time. That became increasingly more difficult to do, and the hospital contracted with a program where another hospital hired pediatric hospitalists. So hospitalist is a new thing that has developed the last several years, where you only take care of hospital patients. And started doing that. Yeah, so you don't have an office setting, you only take care. So I started doing that, and I only started taking care of children that needed to be hospitalized. And because it's a conflict of interest to have both a hospital and an office, the idea in the Western world is that if you have your own office, then all the hospital patients, they're going to continue to follow you. And so the other pediatricians in the area wouldn't refer the children that needed to be in the hospital for me to take care of them in the hospital. So unfortunately, I had to give up my office. So now I travel as a pediatric hospitalist. I have licenses in other states. So that opened up a whole new awareness for me when I started going to hospitals in Mississippi, New Hampshire, Virginia. I've even gone as far as Nevada.
Wow.
Work at hospitals there. Yeah, because once you get a license, a medical license in a state as a pediatrician or as a physician, it's good for 2 years. So within those 2 years, I can keep going back to that state if the need arises to substitute a pediatrician that's on vacation, or just that the hospital has a higher census and they need more pediatricians to cover the nursery and the pediatric floor. So after speaking to thousands of families and putting my own experience from medicine together, I also, during the divorce and my transition from Western medicine to holistic medicine, I got sick myself. I was in the hospital for 5 days with a massive sinus infection that went down into my chest, and it turned into bronchitis, and I was giving myself breathing treatments. So I found myself on the couch one day, meeting my criteria for hospitalization. I was like, I have all the symptoms that I would tell a parent, take that child to the hospital.
Right.
So I hospitalized myself on the pediatric floor of the hospital. I called a colleague and say, I can't do this. I can't write orders for myself, and treat myself. So I called a colleague to take care of me and be my doctor while I was there. And so then when I left the hospital, got out after 5 days, I had all these lists of prescription medications. And there I was getting a side effect to every single one. I didn't know what it was. I looked up each medication that I got, and I looked up, and it was like associated with, well, one of them is a metallic taste in your mouth. Well, yes, I have a metallic taste in my mouth. And another one is Achilles tendon pain. There is an antibiotic that's associated with Achilles tendon tears. I was a runner then. Also, I am still a half marathon runner, and so I just started going out of my way to find different other holistic ways, and remembering my grandmother's natural remedies as well. And then I started using them in my office, and they worked because children respond so well to natural remedies. They don't have a list of medications that they have to take. Most of the time, children are healthy. They haven't been exposed to a whole lot of pesticides or toxic ingredients in our products. And so now that I'm doing the hospital work full time, I had a space or time open up where I could start putting all these ideas together. And I came up with a 6-week program for parents to transition, if you will, from Western to holistic medicine. Every week, they would incorporate a different modality, like they would take care of their body initially. They would do a medicine cabinet makeover. I call it God's medicine cabinet, because I've always had a very strong spiritual background with my just growing up as a child. Every weekend, it was just every Sunday, we just had to go to church.
Right.
And so I grew up with that, and we were traditionally Catholic, but then I kind of just transitioned into Christianity on my own. And I wanted to incorporate prayers, and I have since learned meditations and affirmations as well. So I wanted, if I may, I wanted to show you the book.
Yes, yes. So Dr. Ruth is a new author, Dr. Ruth Rodriguez, and she wrote this great book that's to help children and their family. And so I'd like to ask a bunch of questions. First, I wanted to say hi to Harlan and Kathy and Cheryl Stegman. Hi, guys. If you have questions about natural solutions for your health, please type them in, or if you have other questions. But Dr. Ruth, did you find that you had to change your diet? Like some people go to vegetarian or some people go to vegan, which is pretty drastic. Cheryl just became a vegan for her health. Did you find that's necessary or that's recommended?
I definitely felt an improvement myself, and lots of families that I have spoken to, is to decrease the amount of red meat in your diet, eating more plant-based products. And yes, to me, being vegan is the ultimate ideal diet. They are not worried about not getting enough protein or all these negative, things that you hear about it. It really is God's diet for us. And from a holistic, spirituality sense, we're not meant to drink other animals' milk. I believe we're not meant to eat, other animals. Although we are carnivores, but I believe that we were only eating meat back then, like once a month, maybe, if there was a cat, not on a regular basis. So I do recommend vegetarian or vegan
Oh, you
diet.
do? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you find that, I do have a question from Cheryl in a second, but do you find that people have a hard time adjusting to change their diet? Is that the hardest part of this change?
It depends. I myself, and speaking to other parents, the children have, lots of children have trouble with milk, whether it be digestion or eating red meat, whether it be stomach cramps, or sometimes just rashes, skin, or issues. And so that was easy for me to eliminate something that was physically bothering me. I guess it would be difficult if you have absolutely no physical reason to, to decrease it. But most people notice something: a little stomach ache, cramps, constipation, headaches, joint pain is huge for adults. And then with children, it's behavioral issues and skin rashes.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. But as part of your book, do you recommend, because I haven't gotten to read it yet. I bought it, but I haven't gotten to read it.
So I talk about that in chapter 3, because from a holistic lifestyle perspective, it's the mind, body, spirit, and that's part of the body lifestyle changes that I recommend is changing your nutrition, right? Eating more plant-based. And there's now thousands of evidence-based, double-blind, placebo-controlled, peer-reviewed, that a lot of Western minded people need to make that transition to a holistic, Eastern lifestyle, so to speak, that show that nutrition is the basis.
Right. You are what you eat.
That we are what we eat. And Hippocrates, if I may say, which that was the other reason for me writing the book. Hippocrates said, "Let food be your medicine and medicine be your food." And also the Hippocratic Oath that I had to do when I got my medical school diploma, to do no harm. So that was really the fire behind, and nutrition is the basis of my 6-week program.
Perfect. Okay. Well, let's get to Cheryl's question, and then I've got lots more questions for you personally. So Cheryl said, how can I cleanse out the radiation from a PET scans and X-ray?
Oh, wow. That's a little bit, honestly, because I deal with pediatric health, I feel like I'm a little bitty going over my of that. Yeah, my comfort level for that. I mean, I'll be glad to talk to her some more how to detox in general, but I don't specifically know specific ways for that specific issue that she's having.
Okay, well, Cheryl, her website is naturalsolutionswithdrruth.com. I'll put it in the comments. And if you'd like to reach out and talk with her.
There's a call to action button there that goes to my scheduler, and then whoever wants to speak to me can click on their preferred date and time and set up an appointment.
Perfect. So
for her, I could look into it and refer her to adults that do that.
Yes. Well, she is a vegan, so I'm sure she will be whatever you find that would be a good cleanse, like cilantro or some of the greens. Whatever you find, I'm sure she'll follow it to the T. She's very dedicated with her diet. So okay. Hi, Dina. Oh, thank you, Dina. Thank you. Dina put your website in the chat. I haven't seen her in a while. So my next question is about, you mentioned about your heritage, about your grandmother. And I think that's the key to so much of happiness and health and well-being, is to go back to those, even if they were folklore or they were, funny sayings that your parents said, or you know how like your grandmother's kitchen probably had rice and beans in it, right? and very little meat and fish.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, could you talk a little bit about that? Because did you find, I'm curious if you found that going back to what was tried and true was.
Yes, because definitely back in our grandparents' times, they were eating fruits and vegetables that were in season. They weren't eating, something that was out of season that is grown in California year round. They were much more aware of. They were much more aware of farmers markets that were selling certain things. So I think that's our connection with the earth
Mm-hmm.
that we have, and definitely we didn't have as much pesticides and hormones to
Right.
work. Basically, that's like a huge recommendation. I like the first visit when I consult parents. If you want to change your child's health or your own individual health, is to eat organic. There's just no way around it. If it's not labeled organic, hormone free, there's no way of knowing.
Right.
They have to take that extra step to get that, clean label on there, that non-GMO, whatever you can do. Um, every time that you go grocery shopping, you're going to feel the difference. It's going to make a world of difference.
Yes. Well, and you do feel the difference. So could you give us some stories of big dramatic changes that you've seen? I know you have your own personal story,
Yeah.
but could you share so people get an idea of why this is so important to them?
Yes, yeah. Eczema is the most, we're not supposed to say, diseases, but skin rashes such as eczema that are very, very common in children. I mean, it's like night and day. Taking a child off of, some of them have responded to taking them off of milk and milk products, and some of them have responded to taking them off of gluten and bread products or pastas that have gluten in there. And that's been a huge, I mean, literally the milk issue is like in 2 days that a rash is better on a child. Yeah. Because it's just a foreign, substance that your body has to react to, that it has to process, and it's being forced to. And that's also my, if you will, I also take that parallel to my idea of prescription medications versus natural medications, if you will. I feel like prescription medications that are man-made, they're telling our body what to do. And so your body has to succumb to that. It has to process it, and it has to be told to fall asleep or to be more alert. And that might not be the wisest decision, for your body at that moment, versus a natural medicine that supports what's happening naturally, that your body can digest completely, that there isn't a toxic ingredient there that it has to send to the liver or the kidneys to be processed extra and be eliminated. This is why we see, the response that I've seen, I believe, with the children, where literally in a few days, you can see a difference.
So when the parents, so your book is for children and parents.
Yes, because all the children's illnesses.
And then children.
My knowledge is based on my experience with children, but I mean, all illnesses you can have as a child or as an adult.
Right.
I don't want parents to think that it's only for the children and that your child has to be sick. It could be for any health issue or a wellness, just that you want to create a holistic lifestyle for yourself because you want to maintain your health and wellness.
So I'm going to throw you a ringer. Are you ready? What do you think about vaccinations?
Yikes.
I'm sorry, I just have to ask. I have a granddaughter.
Yes.
And my daughter is in that medical system, and she is following every single thing. And I'm vegetarian, and I live in Colorado, and so our lifestyles and our choices are different, and I honor hers. But I I just don't know. I'm scared of vaccinations for children. It seems like it's overdone.
So usually by the time the parent gets to me, most of them are not pro all vaccines like
Oh,
that, because
okay.
we are looking for a change, right? So then I help them with create a modified vaccine schedule, if they will. There have been research and there are articles written. Other physicians have created already a modified vaccine schedule.
Oh, that's
I tell them to work with a pediatrician that's willing to do just one at a time to see what kind of effect that is to the child. In my own office, I was working with parents. Right now, I'm doing online consultations, so I'm not physically giving the vaccines. But when I did have my own office, I was letting them do one at a time.
oh, I see.
There were some vaccines that were coming from the vaccine company that did say preservative free. Flu was one of them. Flu on the box, it would say preservative free. So, I mean, it has other toxins in there, but it's preservative free. So,
Well, I mean, I think that this is a
yeah, so you could, so that when they come to me, they could either do it modified or they could refuse it at all. But because I'm not office based, I'm not their assigned pediatrician, I can't sign that form for them accepting them. I can only give them those, ideas and options.
And so that you're in Florida, right? So in Florida, so I don't know if there is an allowance for exemption. Like when my
Yes.
granddaughter was born, I think they had to
Yes.
vaccinate. I don't think there was a choice.
Now, like hepatitis B at the hospitals, you can sign a refusal form if you don't want your newborn to get hepatitis B. And the nurses give you a hard time. And 10 years ago, I was the one that was convincing them to get vaccinated. But now I've done that 180-degree shift. And that's what has become my passion, is to help parents do that 180 shift as well. And sign the refusal forms. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
Well, yeah, I have a friend from California that her daughter's probably 14, and she was early on realized that she didn't think vaccinations would be healthy for her daughter,
Mhm.
and that was, they actually went to court on it and everything. So that's why I was asking, is that
Yeah.
since you're now looking at a more nature-driven approach to health, basically, you are what you eat, and that your body knows. Your body's so intelligent if you let it be.
Heal itself. Yes.
Right. Well, the other thing you said about that people a lot of times will feel discomfort, like children will tell you, but I find that people are kind of not feeling. That seems to be that we're this pause that we're in with COVID has allowed people to really, really feel themselves. Up until now, it was like frantic do, which I'm still very busy personally. But the idea is like how do you get them to feel? Do you get them to breathe? Do you do any? Because you mentioned meditation.
Yes. Yes. I'm very big on meditation and prayer. I mean, equally, because half of my life was in prayer. It's just recently that I've added meditation. But affirmations, I also love to suggest to parents. So in chapter 2, I did like a synopsis of Louise Hay's work,
Oh, love.
Heal Your Body. So I condensed all of her emotions into 3 basic emotions, because children are either in fear, in my experience. They either have fear, anger, or sadness. All the other emotions, it seems to me, that's a little bit complicated, for a child. They're either afraid, they're angry, or they're sad. They're not going to be having this complex, regret of the past, the future idea, right? So
They
I
don't have that much past.
yeah, I condensed from Louise Hay's book. I condensed all those emotions. I listed the illnesses that each of those three might be associated with, and
Perfect.
I listed affirmations for each one. Right, so anger and sadness, what to do for it. I could show you an example of it here in chapter 2, and I think that's what I am the most proud of.
Oh, good. Okay. Great. Okay. So it's a table. Uh-huh.
Let me see.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
See how it shows
Yeah, that's
the emotion, the illness, and the affirmation.
perfect.
Yeah. And so I listed other emotions. I mean, it's not just sad. So the parent could, if they thought the child had poor motivation, felt victimized, repressed, disconnected, overwhelmed, unsupported, all that falls into the basic emotion of sadness, to simplify things, right?
Right.
And the loving affirmations that will empower the parent, even for themselves, if the child is old enough to do the affirmations. If the child is not old enough, then the parent can recite those over them.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, and that would be soothing.
Yes.
Anyway, you're a 2-year-old.
Yeah. Even if the parent themselves is not having these emotions, even doing them over, reciting something and speaking something over someone else, you receive that energy as well.
Exactly. Yeah, and a mother and child, father and child are so connected that yeah, it's a win-win, right? It's actually, when you think about what you do too, and what I do, a lot of times you see yourself in the person you're helping, and you gain benefit, right?
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Well.
So okay, so Dr. Ruth, the next question I have for you, as I'm torturing you, is COVID. Obviously, you've said you're doing teleconference or telehealing, I guess is what you would
Yes.
call it. I don't know. And how are you how are you adjusting and finding that? Is it okay, or I mean, is it difficult, much more difficult for you to do a good job?
As far as I welcome the opportunity to help parents and families boost their immune system during this time. There's so many things that we could be doing for ourselves and our families right now. So we don't have the fear that we're going to a grocery store and the first person that sneezes around you, that you're going to get it. I mean, I think that's part of the awoken versus not awoken person, that there are things that we can do for ourselves to boost our immune system. I'm in the process of writing an article about masks, because now a lot of the schools want to reopen up, having children wear masks, and I'm not 100% for that. There have been lots of studies that are done, not specifically in children, but in adults, where you can apply that for a child.
Right.
That there is a decreased oxygen amount, that the percent of oxygen in our blood, and the increase. Yeah. So I feel like I mentioned that because, in combination with boosting our immune system and not increasing our CO2 intake by wearing masks, for 8 hours continuously in the classroom, not to mention that the child's just not going to wear it. So part of me is like, don't worry about it. The child's not even, half of the children are not going to keep this mask on for 8 hours. They're not going to stay 6 feet apart from each other. I mean, a child, innately knows that this is part of our humanity.
Right, right.
Connect and be close to each other and play closely, and but I think we can help them so much, and whether they keep the mask on or don't keep the mask on, let's boost our immune system while this downtime is happening. So when they do go back to school, they have been, or are the healthiest that their gut and their immune system can be.
Well, so that you brought that up, and it's a perfect segue to another question about stress, because I am working from home, and I've kind of made it cozy, but it's still not my office. I had to close my office too, and there's a neighbor kid who's 8 years old, who she had her 8th birthday And she, I saw them yesterday. There were a couple of them together. They're not wearing masks. And the hardest part and the stressful part was her losing her peer group. She has family. She has a sister and mother and father, but not having that association with your peers is. I wondered what you're seeing. Are you seeing any illnesses or any remedies that you could recommend for that kind of stress of loneliness? Or I mean, because this doesn't make up for being next to somebody. It doesn't.
Um, you mean you're asking for the children or
For
for?
the children, I when I think about it, I've adjusted very well because I was doing my business on Zoom anyway, but a lot of it. But the children having to take school on Zoom, and then they barely can have interaction with anybody but their family, which of course that's a blessing in their memory. They're going to remember like a vacation kind of thing of how much time they got, how much attention they got. But the stress of the loss of their friendships.
Connection of friendship. Yeah.
Are you seeing anything of that, or do you have a remedy for that?
Not much in my area because this is one of the lowest number of cases in Florida is where I'm at. There's like a little pocket area. It's the Cocoa Beach area, and there isn't that much cases as there is in the rest of Florida. But two suggestions. One is to have them meet, not just via the teleconferencing like this with their friends, not just for school, to make play dates with them so they could see each other.
Yeah.
Because I think, half of it there is the visualization. Yes, they're going to miss the physical contact, but at least they could see each other. And children do a lot of parallel playing. So they could just spend time with the friend while the friend is doing something on their video side, and then the child is doing something. And just once in a while, they would, interact with each other. Yeah, so that keeps that same scenario happening.
Is there anything for their diet that you would recommend for to reduce stress?
Well, my other suggestion was to meet with another child locally, like in a backyard, at an open park, at the beach if you're close to, a hiking trip maybe with one other child. And then I have a list of immune boosting supplements and natural remedies that I recommend for them to do. So you could do that a week or two prior to the person having a hiking trip or a beach or a park outing with, and just keep it to one or two friends, not,
Yeah, good. Okay, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so they would have the physical and have something to look forward to. I think the main thing with children is to always tell them this is what's happening today and this is what we've got next week and that's coming up in the future. So it always keeps them moving forward in a positive mindset. Yeah. As far as medications for stress, besides the affirmations and meditations and all that, I mean, vitamin C is just my favorite overall for everyone. Vitamin C as an antioxidant that reduces all of those stress factors that are produced when we are under a high level of stress.
Yes.
And, there have been studies done. This one study that I saw, this gentleman took 20,000 milligrams of vitamin C, and he just got loose stools, but that happened to him. So, and there was also a 1-year-old that was given 10,000 milligrams.
Wow.
So when we say vitamin C, be generous with it. It's to bowel tolerance is our the medical recommendation. So it's not 2,000 milligrams, which is the maximum that we are taught. I recommend vitamin C to bowel tolerance, to the point where you get a stomach ache, to the point where you get loose stools. That's how you know if your body's not getting loose stools and you're at 4,000 milligrams, then you need to bump it up to 5,000 or 6,000.
And should the vendor, there's so many vitamin C's out there, and some have biotin or not by there's combination vitamin C's.
So I don't generally recommend combinations because I want to see what one thing does versus the other. So I only recommend single dosing of supplementations if you want to take supplementations. I mean, if you're have a good vegan diet and there's also extra whole food nutrition supplements, I always go to those first, nutritional supplements first before I go to an extra milligram of this and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's
the question. Actually, I would say eat more fruits and vegetables first when you're under stress, and then number two, increase your vitamin C for the antioxidant effect.
Okay. And so for kids, hopefully you can get them to eat the good stuff. And how about processed foods? I mean, I know my daughter's 31, but back then even, if you were out, you had a granola bar in your purse in case they got hungry. You have to have something ready in case they get hungry because they're so little they can't wait.
Yeah.
Is there a recommendation for foods, portable foods, or?
So fortunately now, because there are more and more awake people, and thanks to California and Colorado that are producing all these, there are so many more pre-packaged, non-GMO, organic products. Like I love kale chips, for example, or you can just make your own kale chips and put them in a Ziploc bag. I mean, that's just, such an easy snack, and you are increasing your fruits and vegetables in there as well. I just got an air fryer for Christmas. So that's been a super blessing.
What that is, an air fryer?
Yeah, well, you can air fry instead of frying. You air fry. It's like super heat your vegetables. I haven't done it with fruit yet, but I've just been doing it with vegetables. 15 minutes, you pop some sweet potatoes in there, and in 15 minutes, they're like done at 350, and it comes out crunchy on the outside and soft.
Oh, that's great. And the nutrition's still there. That's the other part.
Yeah. So it's mainly with nutrition, as far as being, eating more fruits and vegetables, it's just planning ahead of time. And I just think that like the air fryers or dehydrators, that's a way to make it last longer. Where you could have, dehydrated bananas in your purse for several more days than a fresh banana. A child, for example. So, so the children are not grabbing to that,
See, I think when their little stomach starts to get hungry, the ease, it's like quick, put something in there because the acid starts.
You have to be prepared. Here, eat this. Or they're gonna see the big M on the side of the road, and they're gonna be like, "Let's do it."
They want the greasy fries instead. Well, I mean, that whole McDonald's thing, that was brilliant advertisement. And I mean, the little playgrounds, those were fun. So
yeah,
I never eat anything there.
A big V and create a fast food vegan place.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you got it. You heard it here. When she gets to do that, you heard it here first.
Can help me out. I'll help you make a big V on the side of the road.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, we want to go to the V.
Okay. So, Dr. Ruth, next question is about water. There's so many people that have all these water. I have a water filter, and then I also spin my water with a magnet. But what do you recommend? Is that another thing that you see right away? Yeah. Drinking more water.
The big thing for water for me is to buy, if you buy water, is to buy BPA-free plastic waters. So in chapter 4, I list several toxic ingredients and what body part or what products they are contained in. So you know the names of these toxic ingredients and to avoid them when you look at the labels. of things. But for water, the big thing is BPA free water. The pH is also helpful to have a more alkalinized water than a acidic water. But if I had to pick one thing, it's to at least the easiest thing is to buy a BPA free plastic bottle, or have your own filtered water, reverse osmosis, as much as you can, at home, and then fill up your own non-plastic bottles to use your own stainless steel or whatnot, and take you. Yeah, and children can take. I know a lot of schools don't like them sometimes to have them in their desk, but they'll let them have them in their cubby or in their backpack, so the child can go and drink their own water that they brought from home.
I see.
This.
And
so
it's not that hard. You just have to be organized, is what you're saying.
Right.
Okay. And Don Lynch says, "Hi, Don. Add baking soda to your water to make it alkaline."
Yes, to alkalinize it. Yes. If you don't have a filtration system with the pH, that's an excellent idea.
Yeah, he's in priority.
There is a lady, speaking of books, the whole entire book has been written, this lady, about how she cured her cancer by alkalinizing her water.
Perfect. That's what I wondered. I have friends that have, these $2,000, $3,000 machines.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered about that. I have just a filter that filters out everyone's prescription.
Right. The violet light, you just, you add on more things. You could start out with just eliminating the heavy metals, and then reverse osmosis, and then the ultraviolet light. You could do ultraviolet light for your whole entire house water.
Right.
For your laundry. You just do, little steps at a time.
Well, I guess I'm asking if that's one of your recommendations. Are you passionate about water and improving the quality of water that you ingest and drinking more?
Yes, this was my passion. It's a whole entire holistic lifestyle. It isn't just about nutrition and medications. It's about a whole lifestyle of healthy living. And that's what I try to create. I say 6 weeks, but most people need 12 weeks so they can spend, that extra amount of time figuring out. So each week I talk about, one week is about nutrition, the other week is about household products, the other week is about our routine, and, the other week would be about spiritual practices. So by the end of it, you have a holistic lifestyle set up for your wellness.
Yeah. Okay. So that's another common thing is preventative medicine versus reactive medicine. What a lot of times when you get people, they've already suffered. They've got the symptoms, and the Western medicine system has been, just take a pill. If we can instantly change that, we'll just give you something for it. And actually, if they don't give you something for it, you're kind of disappointed that you went to the doctor and they didn't give you an antibiotic. But what you're doing is really more holistic, that it's preventative, correct? Could you talk a little bit about that?
So there's like 3 things the ways that I work with parents. I work with them creating a holistic lifestyle, but the fire of it is to switch the child from traditional prescription medicine onto a natural remedy for whatever illness the parent is dealing with. So that's another realm of my services and offer to parents, if you will. I want that child off of a prescription medicine. I have mapped out all of their illnesses, and I have a natural remedy.
Wow.
I've either experienced at the office, that I have already have experience with, that I have given it to them, or I know that it has worked for others, and I can recommend them.
Do you go to like the Europeans where they use homeopathy and they use light and sound? Have you been using a lot of those modalities too?
Taken homeopathy courses because I traveled to Italy so
Oh,
many years, and my ex-husband was Sicilian. So I
oh,
always used to travel somewhere in Italy before getting to Sicily. I don't know, a lot of people don't know that. There is no direct flight United States
right.
Sicily. You have to travel somewhere. And in Italy, one of his best friends, he's a physician also. In Italy, you have to become a physician and then specialize in homeopathy. So he had a high school, medical school classmate of his that we used to meet often there, and she became a homeopathy doctor. So I learned a lot from her. And then when I came to the United States, I started taking homeopathy courses myself. Homeopathy is difficult. You have to learn and incorporate, you have to get to know the person because you have to incorporate their personality into it as well. Homeopathy is not, I mean, the true homeopathy is based on the person's personality and physical habitus. That all of that is incorporated to choose the right medication. It isn't just nasal congestion. I'm going to try pulsatilla.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
It is a whole another realm of medicine completely. So I tried, and it was quite difficult for me. I think it's very time consuming, and you have to only do that. And because I'm such a, I don't know, purist, I guess, because like I only want to take one supplement at a time to see how it works. I only want to do one type of medicine at a time to help you out with it. So what I did was I mapped out the illnesses with the natural remedy using essential oils. Because
Oh,
essential oils now, their purity is so much stronger, their concentration has significantly improved the last 10 years. And there's tons of oils now that can be taken internally besides aromatically or rubbed on our skin. So I mapped out most of the children's illnesses with
wow.
essential oils, except
That,
for cancer. I mean, I don't want to, I think as physicians, the best thing that we can do for our parents is know when my limit of knowledge, when my expertise is, beyond what I can help someone with. And so I've made an exception that I don't deal with parents that have children that have cancer or are going through cancer treatments or surgical interventions. It's
right, right, right. I understand. Yeah. Well, and the reason I asked about homeopathy is most of the health food stores out here have a
yeah,
little chart, and
yes,
so you just buy a little vial of something and try it, and it's kind of hit or miss.
right.
That's why I wondered if
Yes,
if
and
that was
that's why they're hit or miss, because we're not taking into account the whole entire um, modality of the research behind each medication. That it's based on the personality and the body of the person, what homeopathic medicine they're going to respond to. Essential oils are a little bit more one-to-one. Lavender for sleep issues. Uh, so
eucalyptus for your sinuses.
and most of my own research that I've done in my experience is with essential oils, so I can recommend them more confidently.
Great. Oh, yeah, that makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
As far as your working with people right now, are you seeing you're able to prescribe essential oils? You're able to prescribe a different lifestyle or habits, basically.
Recommend, yeah, yeah. So I call them consultations, and I do them via Zoom calls.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. And so are you, again, I'd love to hear a story if you've got one about something that you saw that it was pretty quick turnaround. Do you have any story for us?
Yeah, the eczema. There was a child
Okay.
that yeah, just on his palms, and it was very difficult. He couldn't go swimming because the
Oh,
chlorine in the pool, right? It's actually a relative of mine, because when they came to our pool, you gotta have a pool in Florida. Almost everyone has a pool in Florida. Our pool is salt water. And
Oh,
so when she went into the pool, she was like, you know what, Aunt Ruth, I feel so much better in your pool. And when I, but her mom doesn't do natural products, so then I just transitioned her. I was like, look, you have to, the natural things. This is the salt in the pool that's healing her hands. For some reason, it was only on the palms, which made me think that it was the soap or the shampoo, the
oh,
top ingredient there, yeah, that she was using, because I went through her diet. She does try to be vegetarian as much as possible, although she was still eating cheese. But I thought just in the palms that it wasn't so much of a full body thing. Like if you have a rash on a larger part of your body, like a torso rash, then I would think it's a sensitivity to a food or something that you're drinking, either eating or drinking. So then that's when I take them off. And in traditional eczema with children, you see them inside the elbows, back of the knees. So that's usually a whole body process, which is more something they ate or drank. So
ah,
number one, milk, and number two, bread and gluten products. But in
wow.
this particular case, it was just the palms of her hand. And so I switched her to all natural soaps and shampoos with all of these long ingredients that you can't pronounce, right?
Sulfate, laurate, laurate, all this.
The sodium is huge, and there's some companies now that only make toxin-free products. There's one company that guarantees that their products are completely toxin-free and won't have any effects.
Wonderful.
More and more things are coming out, and literally in 2 days she saw improvement. And then as a healing thing, coconut oil and lavender oil, because she likes to smell in the evening. So coconut oil during the day and lavender oil. And that was just a couple of days.
That's fantastic.
But in the office, I saw the changes within a week, just taking them off of milk and milk products. I don't know why there's this obsession, especially in the United States, with drinking cow's milk. So
Yes. But is it okay to put them on almond milk or?
So almond milk, right? A plant-based milk. If you have to drink milk at all, I would do a plant-based milk, and it makes a significant difference because milk is so associated with leaky gut syndrome, and that is the connection with the skin.
Yes. Okay. So when you find they used to have a book, Eat Right for Your Blood Type. Do you still find that that's true, that as a species of humans, we have different things by our blood type?
I don't necessarily follow that, because then I would have to check the child's blood. And so that's like the last thing on my list when I'm evaluating someone, is to get blood work on the child. That's why other types of medicines, like functional medicine, it just didn't work for me for the holistic lifestyle, because I have to check levels or the blood type on a child to use those methods. And parents might not even know, even though the child's blood might be checked in the hospital, they might not even know it, and it just gets me into that Pandora's box.
Yeah.
So,
okay, I just wondered because that was a rage for a while.
Right, I avoid it because to tell a parent you got to take the child into a lab, and to tell the child they're going to do that, and it's like,
scared to death. Yeah.
I can help them so many other ways just by going by how they look and feel, and the spiritual practices.
Perfect. And this is why I wanted Dr. Ruth to come on to Conscious Business Zone, because right now we're under a lot of stress. All of what she offers, her knowledge and her experience, can help a child of any age, because we are going through high levels of change, which some people delight at change, and other people it creates a lot of fear. So that's why I was hoping that you would benefit from learning, and you can go to her site, Natural Solutions with drruth.com. And Dr. Ruth, tell us anything else you'd like to share. You have this new wonderful book that people can get on Amazon, right?
Yeah, I feel like most of your population here is already awakened and alert, and they are.
That's okay. They can give it to
So,
people. They have relatives that aren't.
yeah. So which is wonderful. Yeah. So those are my ideal clients. So I would just go directly to the website and sign up for your first 15 minutes of consultation are free with me to see if we're a right fit, and I can help describe. On the website also is a description of what we would talk about every week. If your child is sick, though, don't hesitate. It would be my honor to help you with your child and get them off of a prescription medication onto a natural remedy. My book is on sale right now. The Kindle version is only 99 cents. So if you have Kindle, you could pick that up. It's got the list of affirmations and the illnesses. It's got a list of toxic ingredients, mind, body, spirit practices. And if you're like, oh, yeah, I know that, been there, done that already, because you're in this group, please share it with your friends and family, because these were all the ideas that I used myself to transition to make that shift.
Perfect. I think that the media made us feel like it was too hard to do this and too expensive, and it isn't. It's exactly the same. And once you realize you have a choice, how you engage with the world, and whether you love yourself enough to give yourself the gift of good health.
And to me also, if you will, I also added that on when I discovered that this was possible and I was healing and I was helping others heal. It came to mind that this is our way to honor not just ourselves. We are honoring back to divinity and thanking him for the possibilities that we've had here to leave this place for our future generations better than how we received it.
Exactly. Okay. So Kathy Botchman's asking, I'm wondering if any natural methods for osteogenesis.
Osteogenesis imperfecta. Yeah. Is that what she's talking about? It's
I think so. I don't know.
Osteogenesis imperfecta. Yes, there are natural remedies that strengthen the bones. It is a congenital illness. If she's talking about osteogenesis imperfecta, so we can't. There are natural remedies that improve our DNA and decrease our antioxidant levels, and certain natural remedies that will definitely help with the pain if that's one of their symptoms. But it is a genetic illness, so we can't really reverse our genes, but definitely improve their life.
Okay, she said yes, so that was correct.
Yes.
So Kathy, you can go to her website, which I'll put up here again. It's Natural Solutions with drruth.com, and talk to her and find out how she could help you. I truly believe that almost everything that we have in our lives is because the body keeps regenerating and it's always sloughing off the old cells. There's so much we can do.
Yeah.
She says,
it's not curable, it's treatable.
Right. Well, and it's so much of this, when you take control and you have a different attitude, you're not victimized by it anymore. You know, it's a different mindset. She said no pain, broken bones is what she said.
No broken bones?
No, she says no pain, broken bones.
Okay.
So she said that. So anyway, so Kath, definitely contact Dr. Ruth, and thank you, Dr. Ruth. Thank you so much. So wonderful to talk with you today, and I hope Oh, she says for grandkids.
The grandchildren have it. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
we have to talk to her and help them improve their life.
wonderful. Wonderful. Well, love your energy. Thank you so much for what you do. I just want to support anything that is going to make a difference for the future and everything. Thank you for your willingness to be on the front line as a doctor and go out and talk about things that are out of the industry.
That's all we're here for. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Ruth. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Thank you.